Now, with many of the sequels being released this year, there's a common theme that I've noticed is that developers aren't making any big changes to the game, but mere subtle improvements and additions. And I'm just wondering, is this safer strategy making the games better, or is it merely producing the same game in a different colour? Well, with the sequel to 2008's Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, I hope to answer that question. Let's review it! Fallout New Vegas, the sequel to the 2008 Game of the Year, Fallout 3, and with it, it brings all the things that made that game great, but sadly it also brought some of the things we hated. With Bethesda, developers Obsidian, the creators of the Fallout franchise, have created yet another immersive experience to a post-apocalyptic world filled with savage humans, super mutants, ghouls, giant scorpions, and the most freedom you'll ever see in a video game. So with all these new subtle improvements and features, does the game topple its predecessor? We find out. The game is set in the Mojave Desert, or New Las Vegas, and you'll definitely be on the lookout for games of chance and gambling. Not to mention a hot sun and a brimming casino strip and plans that bring a bit more life into this version. You also notice it has a western feel to it. Now, the main story involves these two major factions that are trying to take control of the entire New Las Vegas and the Hoover Dam. And you are a courier who's been double-crossed, shot in the head, robbed and left for dead, and soon enough you're rescued and you want to go out and find the people that robbed you. Now, it's a decent enough story and it looks and feels a lot like Fallout 3. It's a smaller map, but it's filled with more quests, more creatures, and more everything, which is always a great thing. The atmosphere is extremely immersive, the writing is improved, and it's just a shame that it's also littered with a bunch of bugs, like little things popping up, the AI is everywhere, quests won't be recognised at certain things. It's just a bit frustrating for such an enjoyable experience. As New Vegas hasn't been hit as hard by the atomic blast, you'll see a brighter, more colourful Fallout. Whilst it still does look very desolated, there's a big blue sky, plants growing, crows flying around, and many more little features that bring a bit more life to the wasteland. You'll see flags blowing in the wind and a big radiation-free river. Basically, it sets it apart with this new look, and it's definitely easy on the eye. It's still Fallout, character movements are rigid, decapitations and that system still looks cool, except your character walks a bit more like John Wayne this time round. Whilst this was something I hope they were going to improve, it still creates a great atmosphere that is nothing short of fantastic to explore. What further enhances this world is a great ambient theme that changes throughout the game depending on where you are or if you're under attack. The radio stations are back with a bunch of cool 50s and 60s songs. I would have liked to heard more. One thing I noticed is the little touches in sound. Now, guns sound better, footsteps and noises in the distance all have a bit of flow to the game. Conversations and more dialogue options are aplenty, with voice acting from Matthew Perry, William Sadler and Ron Perlman. It hardly ever sounds wooden. Now, they may only be little touches in these slight improvements in graphic and sound. It just helps create a more immersive, better and greater environment, which is a delight to explore. Being a hardcore fan of Fallout 3, I was most excited to hear about New Vegas' hardcore mode. Now, it's a slightly more realistic take with harder enemies, dehydration and bullets that weigh you down, and I gotta say, I love it. It really adds to the struggle for survival feeling that I loved in Fallout 3. The karma system has changed a little, and now your reputation is affected by how you interact with different towns and factions throughout the game, which adds a lot more depth, I felt. Combat still evolves around you using the VAT system to look at different parts on the enemy's body, except now we have the option to aim down the sights of a gun, which gives you the chance to get more of those awesome stealth attacks. It's a very welcome addition. I felt the weapons were a lot better in this game, and now you have the choice to modify attachments that you find to your guns. Quests are more diverse, and even the side quests have side quests, and I just felt they were better written. As you level up, you will receive more perks and options to improve your stats, and the freedom in this game is just insane. I did, however, feel annoyed at the very start when I tried to go to New Vegas and found just 20 giant rad scorpions blocking my path. You know, it kind of felt like the game was pushing me a little, but it's really no big gripe. Once you hit New Vegas, there's a bunch of gambling options with games of blackjack and roulette, which don't feel as good as Red Dead, but they're still fun. In essence, it's more features that make this Fallout experience more in-depth, more hardcore for Fallout fans, and a greater gaming experience. Now, it may seem more like a giant expansion pack to Fallout 3 than a new game, but New Vegas has some minor additions and a new lookout that really provides a more in-depth and immersive game. If it's not broken, don't fix it. And I think Bethesda have applied a couple of little changes that have improved the franchise immensely. Sure, it does have a couple of the bugs and glitches that you'll find, and there's some basic things from Fallout 3 that they just didn't even plan to fix. But I think it's a real double-edged sword, and I think the good easily outweighs the bad, and with a game this big, you're going to have to just deal with some of those issues. So I'm going to give it a 9.47 out of 10.01, a really fine achievement in gaming, and easily a good contender for Game of the Year. I love it! Yeah.
Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.